G'day everyone, how's it going? We are back in the animation land, and yeah, just gonna go ahead and continue on with getting this damn thing done. So if you haven't been here before, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. Today I'm basically going to continue on with a new shot. I did some more animation over the last couple of days, which is pretty cool. Let me just chuck on some tunes in the background. Let me know if that's too loud or not, but otherwise we think we're good to go. But yeah, it's been a while since I've done a weekend stream, put it that way. So if you saw the thumbnail in this image from this video, you'll know that this shot is done. So we're getting there. This is when the tides begin to turn again. Spoiler alert, I guess. But you know, at this point I don't really care. It's more about just getting the thing done more than anything else, and you guys help me along the way because I get to show the process. So so yeah, thank you for joining as well. Yeah, and I appreciate it. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask away. Happy to answer anything you come into mind. So let's have a look and see what I got to do. So I've got the shot rendered, at least as a template render. And I've got my next shot in my storyboard ready to roll. Hey, how you doing? So there's my next one. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually do that shot because I'm not sure if it will actually add much to it, but or I should change the angle of the piece. So I'll just keep playing that back to show you guys what I'm talking about. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, there's a shot there, and the shot is tracking this one. Well, this scene is actually tracking quite long now. I think it's 650 frames almost. So quite a lot going on in these in this set of well, this scene file at least. Normally I would break this up, but because of the fact that everything is sort of continuous, like there's no major change in shot structure, it made sense to keep it all in one file. But it's starting to get a little bit unwieldy. But again, I'm going to keep on going through using this one because I think it kind of makes sense for this particular sequence, and I just really don't want to mess up laying things out again. But you can see how much has gone on already in this file. It's a lot of animation, but I think we can handle it in the next shot. So in the shot that I have in this piece, I have it sort of the darkness rising. So you can see here in this shot here. Let me just bring this back a little bit. You can see here when she gives the little crystal, we have this going on, then it kind of goes dark, and then she realizes what's going on. So how I go about communicating that in the next shot is something that I might just experiment with, but I'm thinking of an over-the-shoulder scenario at this point. Actually, that would make sense. Actually, I'll do a close-up of Evie first, and then I'll do a over-the-shoulder of Evie. So Evie's kind of reading the scenario from the girl's face, sort of thing. So what I might do, this is actually be a new camera, to be honest. So I'm gonna zoom in into my timeline, put a new marker down, and I will probably have to add a new close-up camera of Evie's face. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You can see the scene's pretty simple, honestly. So yeah, here we go. Let's go ahead and add a new camera. And again, I always hate how like that adds an angle in the when you make a new camera in Blender, but it may work out. At least it's facing the right direction in this case. So let's just bring that up a little bit. And I will pull Eevee back forward, more closer to the thing as well. So there's that to consider as well. Oh, there's a cat in here. Sorry, hold on. Let me just get rid of this cat. I had no idea he was in there. All right, cool. So with the camera selected, I'm just going to go down to the timeline, and where it has the marker, go ahead and add bind marker to the shot. The other thing I'm going to do is go to the camera settings as well and bring up the film gate, so it's basically opaque. All right, so now next thing to do is just sort of position the camera to sort of fit with Eevee's face. Might be better to work in local view for this one. All right, cool. And it's also worth noting that I've moved her body across a little bit to frame the girl a bit better, so I have to change that as well. But what I might do is tighten up that shot a little bit with a longer focal length. Maybe, yeah, 60 or 70 millimeters. I'm not fixing the animations, I'm animating these shots. So this is the next shot that I'm animating. So I'm gonna be adding more animation to this in a sec. Also, by the way, if you guys can give some feedback on whether the music's a bit too loud, let me know. Otherwise, I think it should be pretty low. But I noticed that in the mix in the last stream was a bit loud. But yeah, gonna bring that up a little bit. I think that's actually pretty good. I'm actually not gonna bother with moving her body. I think that should be okay, actually. Maybe bring it back a little bit. Yep. Nice. Alright, cool. Alright, that's the shot. Alright, so with this one here, I'm gonna grab all of Eevee's keyframes. So you can see here that she hasn't been keyframed since the shot here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a bunch of keyframes, including scale, on that cut. Go to the previous frame, keyframe that again, and that should be all right. So she shouldn't be moving. That's good. Lovely. If you're wondering why it's lagging, it's like there's this weird thing with Blender. If you select all the controllers and you have the graph editor edited, you'll see that it has it gets a bit laggy. But once you deselect it, it runs back in real time, basically. So there we go. Awesome. So I'm going to extend this out now, maybe by about 640. It's going to be a pretty short shot, so maybe no longer than maybe about 40 frames. So I'm going to just go to 680. And just position her face to sort of take up that frame. So I'm going to start with an initial sort of pose with her sort of looking down towards the girl and sort of gauging what's going on, and see her eyes sort of move backwards as well as the girl stands backwards. Doesn't matter that they're out of sync in terms of location, because the shot won't really communicate that. You know, you go from this shot to this shot, it looks like they're facing each other, so who cares? So yeah, that's how we're going to operate today. Alright. All I need to do now is sort of position her eyes to make it look like she's... getting some issues with the middle mouse button. Alright, cool. Let's get that head position, all that sort of stuff in place. Maybe get her eyes like that. And sort of position this out a little bit. Alright, cool. Something like that's fine. And then sort of like have her, by the end of this, it would be sort of at the sort of midway point. She's moving her body back a little bit. Let's go back to local view. Moving her body back a little bit. Ah, why aren't you moving? Rotate, come on. There we go. Moving her body back, head tilting up, and like her eyes sort of looking toward the girl as she stepped back in the previous shot. And then her eyes sort of widen up as well. Maybe her jaw will drop a little bit too. As she's sort of anticipating what's going on. What's going on with this controller, I'm wondering. I think it's just skinning. Yeah, it's just the quality of the skinning not being great. That's okay. There we go. Interesting. There we go. There we go. Very simple animation for today. And then she'll turn, sort of dart her body back. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a hold. So I'm going to select everything here for now. I'm not going to select the girl. I've got both rigs selected at the moment, so I just want to select the one character first. There we go, a bit better there. And then I'm just going to have her sort of dart backwards as she turns, like sort of turning to see what's going on as the girl's sort of looking upwards. So very subtle animation at first, and then a quick little dart, a little bit of a hold first, as she sort of takes in what the girl's doing. And then she'll do a pretty large turn into the last frame. So it's going to turn her entire body. And then she's going to turn her body like so as well, including her torso, quite a bit there. Going into the next shot. Active simplify. Oh no, it's running in full. It's running at full tilt. You can see it's running basically in real time. Already got simplify turned on. See, you can see down here, boom. But there's a lot of things going on in this scene. There's no longer any grease pencil eyes. These are all geometry now. So did I add grease pencil eyes with shrink wrap over the head since the eyes are rigged now? No. So now they're all pure geometry with a few little tricks, but there is shrink wrap on the eyeballs. The actual pupils are shrink wrapped to the eye surface. All right, cool. So we got this going on, and then, yep, that's the initial blocking. So you can see it's running at full tilt, pretty much almost at full real time. So let's go 650 or 620, so I can see what the previous shot does. that's the shot. And I think it's going to look pretty good. Yeah, that looks cool. I like that. And then the eyes will sort of look backwards as well. And up. Obviously I have to fix up her eyes there as well, so we can get a continuous motion there. Sorry, gotta sneeze. And then we're gonna open up the jaw. Maybe, I'm not sure yet. We'll see how we go there. Let's see how that looks. And that might even be faster. We'll see how we go. It might actually be worth doing it a little bit faster here. So just bring it back a bit. Actually, rather than doing that, I got an idea. Yeah, that'll be fine. Actually, no. We'll bring it back because that's to sort of be mid thing. I might change the song there. Oh, it's a bit egregious. There we go. There we go, that's better. So yeah, we've got ourselves a little bit of movement now. And now we're going to add a little bit, all the different subtleties to that. So it's very simple little animation there for this shot. Because sometimes it just has to be enough to get the idea across. Alright, feel free to ask some questions along the way if you have anything in mind. Anything related to the videos I've been publishing or to do with animation or whatever, just feel free to ask away. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's add a little bit of less robotic movement into the body. So it's going to bring the body down a little bit. You can see how much difference that makes. So subtle. And then we can tilt that body up a little bit as well. Bring that forward a little bit. A little bit like that. We've got ourselves a little bit of motion going on there. And we can probably bring the body back a little bit as well. Possibly. Just a little bit. Across these keyframes. And then when it comes up here, it doesn't really matter. So there we go. There we go. That's looking pretty cool. Again, going to add a little bit of a drop in there as she repositions her weight. There we go. This one might be a bit too much there. So I might actually copy this, just move this keyframe all the way across. Like so. Let's bring that across. And we got ourselves a little bit of movement there. How long is it? It's coming in at around 3.5 minutes. It might be a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, depending on what I do in the next few shots, but it's going to sit around that mark. So yeah. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. So what we're going to do now is just get a little bit of movement into her head a little bit. Little darts in her head maybe. A little bit of, okay, what's going on here? So I might just give it a little bit of, like a little bit of a really subtle movement. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's running at it's. I know it is. That is the case. My frame rate is 25.4, but there is a slight lag. But I can animate happily at 20 FPS when doing it in the viewport. It will render out at 24 FPS. So like when I can understand that, like, just from experience, that there's going to be a slightly faster response in the final version. Like the frame rate here is at 24, as you can see. There's a little bit of lag there, but you know, you get the idea. But I can sort of pick out that it'll be slightly faster in the final output. But yeah, the viewport playback is not going to be perfect. There is a lot going on still, but it's enough for me to work with. Actually, I don't like that animation there. Let's just go. Okay, what else is there? That's it, really. Yeah, cool. All right. All right, so let's have a look at a little, what's kind of animation I can add a little bit of. I'm gonna add a little bit of, just a little bit of rotation into her head. The sort of, yeah, that looks cool. I'm happy with that. All right, cool. There we go. Yep, I like that. That looks cool. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna copy this, bring it over here. Let's give it a slight amount of animation there. And that adds a lot of just a little bit of asymmetry in that motion as well. I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And then I'm going to add the blinks in once I've got these sort of expressions out there. So there we go. Actually, I'll add the blinks in now, to be honest. So grabbing these. Let's see what we can do. So I'm going to grab the blinks from the previous set of animations, so they're all over here. Just going to choose a blink that looks nice. That one's a nice blink. Just copy that animation over here. Copy. And I'm going to paste it over there. Oh, that's a little bit off because it's yeah, I get it now. Let's go a bit further back. That one's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. Copy that. Go forward. Paste it in. See how we go. Yeah, that's cool. The only thing I'll probably fix is that part there. Thank you. I usually treat it with a different file. The only reason I'm doing this one with a single file is because of the continuous action of between the shots. If it was a little bit more crazy between the shots, I would break it up. But I also don't want to lose like the consistency between things. So lighting tends to change a lot. So I want to make sure that the lighting is fairly consistent across the board. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. Or to the chat, rather. Alright, so see here, just by adding that blink, we know that the timing is a little bit short. So I want to add a little bit more of like a internal dialogue in her head, wondering what's going on, and then she'll turn. I really want to get into character design and animation, but I am intimidated by the process. What's the best place to begin? Well, I guess the best way would be to start really simple. Really simple. Doesn't have to be much. If you want to learn how to do a design and animation, try to design a super simple character, like stick figure style character, or a blob with arms and legs with a little face. If you want to do that, nothing with clothes or anything like that. Just keep it really simple, and then try to put a rig on it. It can be the auto rigger in Blender. That's really simple to use, and then try and do a simple walk cycle or a jump or something like that. And that's a nice way of sort of practicing those sort of things without getting overwhelmed. Don't worry about background design. Don't worry about props or anything like that. Keep it really simple, and that will kind of get you an idea of what you need to do to develop these skills. So that's how I would go about it. All right, cool. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit as well. That was cool. All right, cool. All right, now you can see here that I want to get her to sort of stay put for just a few seconds, about a second longer. So I'm going to grab this and just push this across, I don't know, 5 or 6 frames before she does a head turn. And that will give her a chance to sort of analyze what's going on. There we go. That looks better. Oh, no worries. You're just giving me some ideas, by the way, on some content I could try and make. So, keep an eye out, I guess. All right, cool. All right. All right, cool. There we go. I might move that a little bit further. There we go. Something like that. There we go. That feels better. And now she can kind of do a few eye darts, analyze what's going on. And her eyes can kind of widen out a little bit as well. So her, sort of almost like her pupils can sort of constrict a little bit. Yeah. Texturing can be kind of tricky because there's so many different ways of going about it, and the content online, you know, it's wildly different because of, you know, how stylized or how realistic you can take things. So I think it can be quite overwhelming to get your head across which method works best for, you know, a given scenario. That'll do. So yeah, I'm just going to get her eyes a little bit more constricted. And here we go. Do I ever use animation layers or the NLA editor? Well, animation layers in Blender is non-existent, so I don't use them in Blender that much. I would use them in Maya if I use it more often. I use the NLA editor a lot when I want to. If I was to do like a walk cycle or something like that, I would probably use an NLA editor a bit more. The problem with the NLA editor though is that it's hard to adapt the changes, I guess you can say. If you want to make a change or move things around a little bit, it's tricky. If I had to do like a slight polish pass on top of the NLA, I would probably use the NLA editor instead of changing this, for instance, this animation here. If I wanted to make a very simple change, then yes, I would use the NLA editor. Another cool thing about the NLA editor as well is that you can use modifiers on it. So if I want to downsample this to 12 FPS, which I might do, I'm still not sure about that yet. The NLA editor will allow me to do that without having to do it on each individual keyframe in the graph editor. All right, cool. So there we go. We got ourselves a little bit of movement there. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of eye darts. One. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Hey, how you doing? I'm surprised you're awake. It's almost it's pretty late there, right? All right, cool. There we go. I might actually bring, once her eyes start changing, I'll change that. There we go. 1. Cool. For me, modeling and retopology is the toughest part of creating animation, also UV mapping. I tend to hand paint my textures, but always have an issue with the UVs. I want to do a better video on UV unwrapping as well. So that's again another thing that a lot of sculpting channels, a lot of animation channels don't really cover. So keep an eye out on those things as well. All right, cool. I'm gonna copy this. Friday night, nice one. I might actually make that dilation a bit quicker, or a bit more delayed. Yeah, I might delay that a little bit first. Yeah, that looks better. Yep. Cross-eyed look there. Isn't there an animation layers add-on for Blender that makes an NLA editor work with? Yes, there is an add-on, but those sort of add-ons I always find really tricky to deal with. I mean, I haven't tried it. I mean, I'm sure it's stable, but when you do when you're working on a production like this, for instance, it's really tricky to know whether or not you can get away with updating your software. I haven't watched House of Dragon yet. Rings of Power. Why is Rings of Power utter trash? Now, Rings of Power is... I think it's not great. It's okay. It gets a bit... I've only watched the first 2 episodes. But, I think... I think the thing to be aware of is... Shows like, Let me just bring down the volume a little bit. Shows like Rings of Power, or just in general, just TV shows in general, the fact that certain shows have a perfect first season are actually rarer than... They're more the exception rather than the rule. So, for a show to find their feet is usually the normal way things go. So the first season is usually a bit shaky versus second, third, fourth season. So the fact that the first season of Rings of Power isn't perfect doesn't surprise me whatsoever, because it's more common than not to have that happen. Whether or not they can learn from their mistakes going into the second season or third season is another question to be had. So that's where the real verdict that's where the real sort of I guess judgment can be made, I reckon. Once they settle into their groove, will they learn from their mistakes? So an example of that happening in real terms is classic shows like Next Generation, so Star Trek. First 3 seasons, kind of Then as you get into halfway through the third season, things start to change a lot quicker and get better. Conversely, the opposite happens in Picard, the spiritual successor to that show, where it gets worse and worse in each season. So that's another thing. So yeah, that's a real that's something that you can only judge over time. And I've kind of decided not to bother watching either show until the seasons are over, and watch them after the dust has settled, sort of thing, to sort of get a proper impression of the show without the hype or the detractors sort of trashing on even the smallest parts, because every show has its problems. All right, cool. Hopefully that answers your question, Kelly Johnson. Hopefully that's my opinion at least. All right, cool. So there we go. So that movement in the eyes can probably start a little earlier. Let's get that eye dart in there earlier. 1, add a hold. So 1, 2, and then maybe a little bit more subtle. Something like that. 1, 2, copy that, add a hold. So, I'm not really a fan of those eye darts. Too extreme. Has to be more subtle. Eye darts can be pretty tricky to get right. See how it looks like it's sort of repeating itself, going back and forth. So what we need to do is sort of break that up. There's one there during the blink, which makes more sense. And then bring this one back a little bit. Add that hold. Yeah, that looks better. And then fix those up as we go along. I'm gonna actually remove that scale a little bit as well. I'm gonna make it actually much later. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with the eyes sort of focusing. The other thing as well is just keeping sure that, yeah, I'm not sure, don't like that eye dart there as either, so copy that, hold that. Yeah, that looks better. Up. Let's go good at that. There. So this is where those little moments can be a bit tricky to get right. Cool. 1, 2, 3. This one here can be a bit more, rather than being down, it kind of goes up and to the right. Copy that. Like so. There we go. Yeah, that looks better. Making sure that I maintain those holds though. It's always funny, like you can almost make it opposite. So I'm going to actually make that opposite. So 1. Copy that keyframe. 2, and then sort of reverse this one. So copy that, paste it, and then have it go this way instead. Copy that frame, paste that. There we go. So here we go. Yeah, it looks better. So as this eye comes up here, it's actually going in the wrong direction. So I'm actually going to bring that over here. That's much better. How do I rig spherical eyelids? You have to, I think it's sort of a crapshoot with Rigify, because I'm not a big fan of the way the eyelids work in Rigify. But that being said, spherical eyelids should be pretty easy, as long as the joints are sort of oriented correctly. You may need to look at the documentation about which way the orientation has to be on the joints, because if they're out of whack, they'll go in the wrong direction, right? So have a look into that, I think. So what I might do here is I might copy this here. Yeah, it looks better. Yep, that looks cool. Yep, sweet. And then as she goes to blink, I actually have a feeling that the hold has to be even longer. It's for her to sort of understand what's going on. So I actually might go ahead and copy this frame and move this even further back. So something like that. Like 3 or 4. It doesn't have to be that many more frames. Just a little bit. Like so. Oh, thank you very much for the compliment. Appreciate it. All right, cool. Yeah. That looks cool. And I might widen her eyes as she sort of starts to realize. Right around there. But first, I'm going to add the blinks as she turns. So grabbing those. So we have a blink here already, ready to roll. So copy those. And then as she turns, it should be around there. So I'm going to copy that, paste it in. See how you gotta turn, you gotta do it on the turn, so right there. There we go. Perfect. What's your approach to rendering the final image? Do you render each asset separately or all together in one go? Depends on the project. This one I'm doing all at one go because one, I kind of don't have the time to go through all the settings and separate everything out and then recomp it. Two, the backgrounds are so simple that I don't really care. And three, I kind of want to have it feeling kind of like cohesive from the get-go, sort of like as if I was shooting it from a camera, and you can't really take away a tree very easily, you know what I mean? So even if there's mistakes in there, I'm happy to keep them in there if it people don't notice it. That looks pretty cool. You can see her eyelids are starting to get a little bit wider as well. Cool. That's nice. All right. And then what I might do here, oops, copy this. I'm going to go ahead and just sort of widen out her eyes a little bit as she sort of realizes what's going on. And that will kind of, should give the illusion of, that's better. Yeah, that's cool. So now I can kind of get away with maybe getting her to sort of get things going on here. That's a nice thing about stylization, by the way, Gustavo, is when you stylize, you can be a bit more forgiving about how you go about comping. Whereas with realism, you really do have to worry about the post-production stuff a lot more, in my opinion. Like, you do have to think about, I have to separate these passes so I can have a bit more skin color in the cheeks or whatever, bring out some reflections a bit more. You kind of have to bring out every single pass. And when the more realistic you go, the bigger the file sizes become because you got to consider all those different changes going forward, which sucks. It's such a pain in the ass. So that's kind of why I've gone down this route, even beyond like a sort of Pixar-y style animation, I guess you can say. Because this is just way more forgiving to make changes or not have to worry about making those sort of changes. So you can see here, that's looking way more expressive now. And I might even add a little bit of like a real subtle, like half blink, really quick little half blink as she sort of darts her eyes around. So what I would do is I'm going to copy, put a frame here, put a frame here, and then grab a half interpolated frame here. This is the other thing I love about Blender's animation system, is that you can copy a pose as a frame even though there's no keyframes there. I love that feature. Alright, cool. Copy this. And then as she goes to blink or move around, I'll get the half frame there. Oh shit, not the whole frame, just that one pose. Copy that pose. And then sort of make a real quick little dart. And it could be even more subtle than that. So probably even more so like that pose there. That looks cool. That's awesome. So when she turns her eyes, I want it to happen there. And again over here. Ah, wrong ones. Ah, yeah, it's like playing a game. This is like playing a game to me, in a way. Plus, it's fun to talk about this stuff. Good morning. That looks cool. There we go. Now, it's probably a little bit too much now. So what I'm going to do is even make it even more subtle there. I'm going to copy this pose here. And bring it over here. So it's even smaller movement. I might actually bring that. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. Yeah, it's cool. No late night sessions here. It's 12 p.m. in the afternoon, so not late at all. So what I might do is add a hold here. Copy that frame. Copy this frame. Yeah, it looks cool. Alright, here we go again. Alright, cool. Give me a sec. If you guys can report that too, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Oh, well, that's late. Holy crap. That's really late. So, yeah. Why are you doing up so late? That's the crazy thing. Alright, cool. So here we go. So we're getting there. Getting some movement in there. So what I might do as well is also keep that head moving a little bit. Oh, her body's completely stopped there as well. So I might actually get her moving a little bit in there. Make it, again, really subtle stuff. Alright, cool. So we're getting that going on there. We're almost done with this shot, really, all things considered. Now it's just to really get the eyebrows and getting there a little bit of overshooting on the piece. So go ahead and grab those eyebrows. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I find that hair tools is pretty good. I can't stand doing particle hair half the time. That's why I've gone down this stylized route. I might look at it again after the latest release of Blender, because they have made it a little bit simpler to do some decent tool stuff there. So we'll look into that. I might look into that at least. Copy that. I'm gonna copy this pose here. All right, there we go. There we go. There. Oops. That was nice, actually. Actually, might start with a bit of a... There. Yeah, that's it. Well, there's going to be a lot more... I'm thinking adding a lot more character. There's going to be some new character stuff, some new rigging stuff coming up soon as well. And of course, some more animation stuff in the next few weeks, especially. So keep an eye out on that sort of stuff. On hair tools, as in like the plugin, or as in the new tools? All right, cool. Well, yeah, appreciate it. I'm glad it's all working out for you. That's for sure. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is actually, as she blinks now, so she's blinked. I should do a little half blink there. So keyframe that. Give that a little bit of a stopgap. Like so. The new tools, yeah, I'll have to look into them actually. I haven't had a chance to really investigate them yet. So if I do a new character series, I will be covering the hair for sure. I have an idea for a few character videos. So I'm hoping that will look cool. Let's get a little bit of twitch in those eyebrows there. Ended up with going for a realistic model in the end with the intent of putting it in a game engine, so I can safely say the tutorials works just fine. Oh, thank you very much. Cheers. Will I ever be able to give us access to the blend files for this movie once the content is over? As in the production, I will probably add some working files to my Patreon. So certain files, if I can actually get them to be packaged properly, I can probably add a few small files for sure. Because I'm basically going to redo all the models anyway. So yeah, you can have a look and see how it's all made. Yeah, I probably will add a few to Patreon. All right, cool. That's looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do there is grab these files here, these little bits and bobs here. Hey, welcome to the stream. The first Twitch commenter. Thank you for joining. Man, Twitch is really difficult to get traction, I find. Really difficult. No, it's all good. It's my fault because the time zones make it hard, man. I'm gonna grab these as well. Let's move that. Oh, the eyebrows are moving way too early, so let's go ahead and move those down this way. That's better. I've been stuck in 3.1 for months, some absence from learning, so I haven't had a chance to try it out. Yeah. That's it. The tutorials for the hair tools are really new as well, coming out of it. Thank you. I'm glad that you're following it? Yep, awesome. Well, I'm glad they're working out for you, for sure. Yeah, very happy to hear that. The problem with particle hair, what you'll need to do is use the hair tools to sculpt the hair and then convert them to hair particles. Because right now, this is the big thing about the new system of hair is that it can't be rigged. It can't be animated. So until that happens, for me, it's going to be a massive crutch. Because I have noticed that when you use the hair tool and then convert them to hair particles, the paths change somewhat. Now that can be fine for a still image where you can kind of fix things up as you go. But that's a fucking pain in the ass when you have to animate them and you want to have a consistent style. Really painful. So that's something that I'm going to consider in the future as well. When I do my tutorials. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly it. So it's about really finding ways to work with it. All right. So just really getting those. There we go. That looks better. Yeah, that looks cool. All right, cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I haven't checked out the Blender Today stream in a while, so I'll have to check out that video when I have the time, for sure. Yeah, even I'm starting to trail behind a little bit in the skill sets of the new features coming out in Blender, because I've had so much work and teaching getting in the way and stuff like that. So it's a bit ironic, given that I work so often that I actually can't catch up with the new features. So yeah, one of the worst things you can do as an artist is not be up to date with the latest tools, because otherwise you just end up as a dinosaur. I might actually pause it there. Copy that pose here, copy paste. And let's give it a little bit of a twitch. Very subtle twitch. There we go. Yeah, that's too much, I think. Yeah, it's too much. I'm not going to do that. Let's just get rid of that entire keyframe. That's better. Yeah, exactly right. You know, no matter what you do, you get sort of caught up in the world that you're working in, that you have no chance to really stay up to date. So what I'm going to do here in the head turn, yeah, that's right. You can't really expect to wait for developers to get features done. The only problem is that once you get the if a plugin is specific to a version of Blender, you can't really go ahead and upgrade. So you kind of have to do it in waves. So here I'm going to actually add a little bit of squash and stretch in the head. Right there. That looks pretty good. I might add a little bit of delay there into the head. Actually, in the other, let's see if the other direction works better. That looks better. Yeah, much better. Boom. A little bit of squash and stretch goes a long way. I save every 2 seconds. I gotta you just can't be too careful in this world. So I might actually add a little bit of head turn there, just in the Y, and then give that a hold. That looks cool. Yeah, so different. Ah, that's cool. That's cool. Yep. No, I don't. Yeah, I it's just habit. If I get to a point where I'm satisfied with something, I'll save instantaneously. All right, cool. So there, I'm gonna add a little head turn there as well. Add a hold. And yeah, even there, where the eyes turn just a little bit there, it can be super small movement. Yeah, that's enough. Let's get that pose in. Copy and hold into that. There we go. Yeah, awesome. Autosave, I don't even know if it works sometimes. I'm probably murdering my SSD. Maybe, yeah. Thank you for your content. I've been really helped to learn Blender animation. You're an amazing creator and teacher. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much for commenting and giving the kind words. Appreciate it. All right, cool. So here we go. That's looking cool. Now, there is one thing that we have to do at the end of this animation that... Okay. I'll block out the part that I'm about to do. But I'm really happy with that, actually. I think I'm coming pretty good. Hey, are you using line art modifier for any of this? No. That is something I'm going to investigate for the next episode, though, in the future. Because it runs like shit at the moment. So I want to see how I can make it work for me. I forward your tutorials to anyone I know that even... Yeah, well, thank you. I need it right now. The stats on my videos are pretty abysmal at the moment. So anyone you can share this stuff to would be awesome. I think as well, I need to think about what content to create. I don't want to go too clickbaity though. That's the problem. I still want to make videos that are applicable for, you know, something that can be used properly rather than like some gimmicky crap that you can only use in a certain circumstance. Yeah, same here. Especially on the Mac, it crashes a lot more than on the PC. Can you believe I'm actually using this on battery? That's the other thing that's amazing. Yes, exactly right. So I don't have the modifier on there. So you have to sort of have the modifier turned off when you're working, and then once you render, turn it on. That's for the grease pencil modifier. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of mouth movement, a little bit. I think that's all I need, really. Yeah, I'm actually quite happy with that. And then adding a little bit of little very quick one. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And then as she turns, sort of like a blink, you kind of close the mouth a little bit and then really get it in there. All right, cool. Let's see how that looks. That's cool. I like that. Again, I need a moderator. That's what I need. My favorite instance of Blender crashing is when reading something from disk and then it runs out of memory after I click on the window as it's doing it. Yes, that happens a lot in Maya, in the Mac, because of the single channel memory, or what do they call it? Integrated memory. I don't know what they call it. That was cool. I'm really happy with that. Cool. Any tips for making 3D animation look like stop motion? Love the style of the Lego movie. Yeah, easy, very simple. Here's a little tip. Here's a little trick. Very simple. So you'll need a plugin to get the camera to work, and I've made a video about that. If you look at the Spider-Verse videos I made a few years ago. But very simple little tip. I'm going to save that file right now and go to my character action. Where the hell is she? Over here. And I'm going to stash that as an NLA strip. And then just go to modifiers. Stepped interpolation, 2 frames, and you got yourself stop motion style animation. That's it. That's all you need to do to get that sort of looking on 2s. And I can show you entirely how it looks with the animation here. kind of see it stopping like on 2s, not including her. She's on 1s now. But if you look at her, that's it. No, that's it. That's the only tip I have. That's the only one that works the best in Blender. The other option is to render out your shots in 24 FPS, and then when you go to use After Effects to change the animation, you can use posterized time and set it to 12 FPS, and that will change it to 2s as well. Yeah. Blender's always had animation modifiers. Alright, cool. That's looking pretty good. Alright, sweet. I'm going to wrap this up in a few minutes because I got to get out. I'm going to be meeting up with a mate. But that animation's looking really cool. But what I want to do now, I'm going to bring back our star of the show for now, which is this guy. Now, this one's going to be a little bit tough to get going. Well, that's the thing about Maya, is that you could probably get a plugin that does it for you as well. Alright, I'm going to copy all of this. Right there. Keyframe that. Keyframe that. And then as we get into the next shot, here comes the fun part. You can see here, by the way, if you find that the rig layers are not working, you can see the rig UI is not working here. You can go to the text editor, look for the rig. Oh, it's not there. Rig.py. Where are you? It should be there. All right. Well, if it's not working here, I don't have the actual file. What you can do, if it's not working here, like the rig UI is all missing, I'm going to go ahead and save this file. Go to append. I'm going to go to the file of the wolf that I have, the backup file. Go down to text, rigui.py. Open that up, run it, and there's our rig. All right, so there's a little bug there for you with the rig there. So now we got our rig back. We can turn off all the layers, bring it back. So let's bring them all back. Let's bring it back, all the layers. Unpin that one. There we go. Bring those back. Select all. Keyframe 1. Keyframe 2. Just want to say the tutorials are some of the best I've seen for intermediate users. Keep up the great work. Thank you. If I want to make the animation jittery or smoother for every keyframe without manually doing it, if you use stuff like that in animation software, yes, that's what I do. Yeah, so if you want to blend between 1s and 2s, you'll probably have to do it in post. You can do it in Maya as well, but in After Effects, in Blender as well, but it can be a bit tricky as well. Let's grab the graph editor. All right. It just takes time. Just takes time. And honestly, as long as you understand those fundamentals, it gets easier and easier each time. All right, cool. So I'm going to save the file, reset his pose. You can see that the simulation is, oh, that's going to be tricky. Okay. Should be fine. All right. I'm going to bring that rig back up. Did his scale change as well? I think it did. Did it? No. Okay, scale's okay. Good. Is that Python script is created when you build a new rig that was useful? Yes. Rigify uses that script to generate the rig, so that's what it's for. Area motion, floating layer. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, because in the source file, yeah, that's right. If you want to do the modifier on the curves, you have to do it on each individual curve. But if you do it on the NLA strip itself, it does it across everything. Let's get this up closer and get down this like so. Oh, interesting. Oh, right, the legs are in FK. Yep. So what I need to do now is just on these controls here, I'm going to go ahead and toggle FK. All right, keyframe, 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 keyframe. Next frame, 0, 0, 0, and 0. I have no idea where this chat's going, but yes, I agree with Sepphoris. Yeah, exactly right. So as soon as you get started, you're good to go. Getting started is the hardest part. All right, cool. So I'm going to bring that body down a little bit and forward. And then don't have to see that much. I just need to see it like an inkling of movement, so to speak. So just an impression of movement there. That looks cool. Yeah, that's cool. And then maybe add a little bit of like a 1, 2, a little bit of 1, like a down and then an up. And then another little wave. I'm not going to do a perfect animation here. By the way, you can see here that it's running a little slower with the wolf there. So I'm going to turn off in the viewport the particles. And that will run a lot better. Are you going to make Eve eat in front of it? You never know, man. You have to wait and see. All right. Let's go a little bit there. Again, I'm not taking it too seriously with this part of the animation here. It's a bit too much there. Might reduce that just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's the problem, is that when Blender brings out a new version, you're always so prone to trying out new things. So you really got to be really tough on yourself and like try to avoid the temptation, I guess you can say, to like try a new feature halfway through production. That's too quick actually. So I might actually extend out this whole animation here before we wrap up. Go the whole shebang. There we go. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. It's a bit tight in the frame, so there will be another shot of the wolf in a second. in the next shot. So that's where the lightning strike could actually happen, which is a good idea, actually. And what I'm going to do is move the body forward somewhat over time. Let's grab the torso. Let's grab this one. I think that will be alright. This is the right one. Yes, it is. So let's just grab these keyframes, delete those. That's better. And I'm just going to give an indication of movement. So it doesn't have to be perfect. That's where yeah, that works well. Get a little bit of lift up there. That's looking all right. So a little bit of movement in there. Obviously the foot has to be animated as well. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit. And then back up. I might just grab this and extend out that part there. That looks cool. And I might actually give that a little bit of a jiggle there, because you actually see that. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm trying to go for that sort of look. Vibrant, noirish sort of look. So that's the kind of way I want to go about it. Alright, that'll do, I think. And I'll wrap that up for today, because I really gotta go. Alright, so one. And then move that foot forward just a little bit in this shot here as well. To sort of fill that frame a little bit. There we go. Cool. And then a little bit of a lift in there. And then that will also get a little bit of attention there. One. And then down. And here. There we go. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible for this. Again. Let's leave it at that. And then I'll have to do a simulation of the fur. And we'll see how we go. In animation to subtle clipping using metal. It depends on the shot. Depends on how depends on how that looks cool. Depends on how where the eye is being drawn. If you don't see it, then if the average audience doesn't see the difference, then you can probably get away with it. Let's get rid of that animation there. All right, cool. That's cool. I like that. That's cool. All right, I'm happy with that. I think that'll be enough, especially once their simulation is added on top of it. So let's see what happens when I bring that back and give it a little bit of a cheeky sim. And yeah, I think that will be all right. So if we go here, delete bake, and bake all dynamics. And this is going to be quite a long bake actually, so I'm going to leave it there. And you can see what it looks like, hopefully in the next stream, once it's all done. So 700 frames of simulation to bake. So there we go. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I may chuck up the animation file, the render, and up on if I have time. We'll see how we go. But other than that, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you for joining me. It's been really fun. Thanks for the super chats for those who gave it. Again, if you know anyone who is interested in 3D, feel free to let them know that I exist, and they should sub and like my videos. All right. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you again, and enjoy your weekend. Cheers.